The short answer is yes, but the longer answer is it's yes, but you must make allowance for those people that cannot get the vaccine, either because they have an underlying physical or mental impairment, a disability for which the vaccine is contraindicated. They say, I have a medical issue, so you need to provide me an accommodation for that medical issue to your mandatory vaccination policy. Or for an employee that holds a sincerely held religious belief, observance, or practice for which they can't get a vaccine, and an employer has to consider an accommodation for that as well. In both those cases, the accommodation doesn't have to be, and probably shouldn't be, come to work anyway. We're requiring proof of vaccination to work, come to work even though you can't meet this policy. But you have to go through the same and interactive process as we talked about earlier. Talk to the employee, figure out what accommodation you can make. And the accommodation at the end of the day might be, we just can't accommodate this because we have a legitimate business interest in protecting our other employees from the vaccine, and you just can't come back to work. But you have to at least go through the process with the employee to figure out whether there is an accommodation you can make. But let me also add, and I think what complicates or maybe uncomplicates the equation is I don't think the question is as easy as, can you require a vaccine or proof of a vaccine as a condition of employment? Because I think just because you can do it, the law says you can, doesn't necessarily mean that you should. I think if you look at the data that's out there, as I mentioned earlier, we know about 60% say they will absolutely, under every set of circumstances, get the vaccine when they're able to do so. There's another 20% or so that say they will not get the vaccine, whether it's because of a medical issue or a religious belief, or because, they wear tinfoil on their heads and they think the government's implanting 5G trackers in them through the vaccine, or for whatever reason. Yeah. And then there's 20% that are kind of undecided on the fence. And to me, I think if an employer has a mandatory policy, thou shalt get the vaccine when you can, you are going to lose the 20% that are never going to get the vaccine, whether the reason's legitimate or illegitimate. You're going to risk alienating some percentage of your employees that are going to get the vaccine anyway, because they're going to view you as too intrusive, up in their medical business, invading their privacy, what have you. So you risk alienating a percentage of employees that are going to get the shot anyway. And so what I think employers should be doing is, rather than pissing off a whole bunch of your employees and at the end of the day not changing any of their behaviors, what you should be focusing on is that 20 or so percent in the middle, and arm them with education, resources, information as to the safety and efficacy of the vaccine and why it's in theirs and everybody's best interest for them to get the vaccine, and try and push some of them over to the, we're going to get vaccinated side of the equation.